Honestly, like two highlighting moments of anyone's career through their MBA will probably be the moment they get their SIP and their FPs. So especially the subjects that generally scare people like options, fixed income, those were like I really love that. I think the biggest thing you will be gaining when you enter a corporate life is the people around you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of IIM Unplugged brought to you by the Student Alumni Committee of IIM Rohtak. We are delighted to have B. Sraavan, an alumnus of IIM Rohtak from the PGP 13 batch as our guest speaker today. He is currently working in Kickdrum as a project manager and has successfully cleared level 1 of the CFA program, demonstrating a strong foundation in finance.
Thank you very much, Sraavan, for joining us today. We are uh, really happy having you here. Let's dive into the conversation. So you have passed, yeah. So you have passed the CFA exam, uh, and we have many finance aspirants at IIM Rohtak, and we would be having many aspirants who are looking at watching this episode. And if it would be great if you can throw your insights. What could a certification like CFA can help a student in career or in general in when you're looking for a job in corporate? What's your thought on it?
So one of the clearest benefits that you get right from doing passing a level is that your understanding of the subject deepens, right? And one thing I've noticed is that after I cleared my CFA level one, almost all of the finance subjects that I chose to take up in IIM Rohtak felt much more easier in general, and I was able to score really well across all of them, and especially the subjects that generally scare people like options, fixed income. Those were like I really loved that, and I probably owe a lot of that to my like my the certification, right? Another thing is that like the CFA level one will show recruiters that you have an interest in finance, right? Like it's very easy to say that when you go into your summers, it's very easy to say something like, "Oh, I am interested in finance," but you have nothing backing it up. But and how would a recruiter like sort of get confidence in you, right? So an easiest way is probably to just have this certification. This certification just shows that you've really gone in depth, at least the breadth across almost all major domains within finance. So I think it shows one thing is it shows interest to the recruiter, and also it probably makes your 2 years much more easier to go through, especially from a finance perspective, because of the knowledge you gain. Yeah, and it sets a very good platform for you knowledge wise.
Finance is normally perceived as a difficult field or a difficult career to take on. What's your take on this, Shravan?
I think that's overstated. Finance is not very difficult. To be honest, it tends to get the bad rap because of like the slight amount of mathematics it has. It's more mathy than the other subjects, right? And people are generally a little apprehensive about taking it up because of that. But to be honest, it's not, right? Math, like the amount of math you get in finance is very nominal. It's more about concepts and understanding them. And the way I felt was that I tended to do well in subjects which are more quantitative in nature as opposed to something that was general. And finance will suit that kind of people as well, because you're tending to go into something that's very particular and narrow. So yeah, I feel like it's often hyped, and there's not much like merit to the fact that finance is hard. Honestly, like all the people I've had my like I've completed my MBA with, they were also of the opinion that it's not really hard if you put in the work. It gets too overhyped, I feel, in my opinion.
What do you think that the mistakes someone who is entering corporate should avoid from your experience? Uh, you are right now working in a company as a in a good designation. What do you think that we should avoid when we are entering a corporate?
I think one thing is that when you start and like I'm guessing most of the batch is made of freshers, right? Like I think the biggest thing you will be gaining when you enter a corporate life is the people around you. Just like how you have peers in Amrota, there'll be peers in corporate, and those people tend to have tons of work experience. They have 10, 15, 20, 25 years of work experience. Uh, and the biggest mistake you could do is like not absorb that knowledge. And you probably like, I think the biggest mistake I think people tend to make is like they tend to not approach them because they're sort of intimidated by them because of their work experience. And I feel like it would be awesome if you could get them as your mentors and guide, like help them guide you through your corporate career. And I'm lucky to have that in my current company. And I think from my internship, I think that was my biggest takeaway. Like, I didn't sort of gel with a lot of seniors, and I felt like that was a mistake that I didn't want to repeat in my current company. And I think, yeah, I think that we should probably be a little cognizant of when you're entering corporate.
Shravan, we'd also like to hear any special moments of you from the college. Any special moments that you remember would like to share?
Yeah, I think honestly, like two highlighting moments of anyone's career through their MBA will probably be the moment they get their SIP and their FPs. So that moment, I guess all of you are pretty close to experience it. Some might have already gotten an SIP, but I think those are two very special moments, especially if it's the first time entering corporate. The fact that you're gonna get paid and you're gonna work with like fancy companies. Yeah, I think that would be special. And apart from that, another moment that I really sort of cherish is a couple of courses that I really loved. Uh, and we were able to also publish a paper with the help of one of the professors, like Abhishek Verma. I'm pretty sure you guys know of him. So yeah, we were able to publish a paper in a reputed journal, and we also got paid for doing that. So I think that's another highlight that I would like remember from my MBA.
Life after IIM Rohtak and in the corporate world in general.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's corporate is definitely it's a spectrum, right? Like so there's a huge spectrum between what some companies tend to fall on one side and the other. But my experience personally, I'm loving it. Honestly, it's a little hectic at times, but I think that's a given when you enter corporate is that things will start to be hectic. But culture-wise, the company-wise, and the kind of work I'm doing, I'm genuinely proud of. And lastly, of course, like it doesn't hurt to get paid, right? Like coming from a like sort of a shoestring budget with being a student and getting in like getting paid to do what you sort of like. I think that's definitely something you'll probably enjoy for the first few couple of months before the novelty wears off.
That's really thoughtful, Shravan. We'd like to hear some thoughts of you that you'd like to tell to our students who are in first year, second year, students who are struggling with their career, students who want to grow in finance or the other fields. What would be your lines of motivation or anything that you want to convey to our students?
Sorry to interrupt. I also want to add something in Arun's question, since we all are from different backgrounds, and when we joined here, we got to know a very new segment of NISM certifications. So we got to know that if we keep doing NISM courses and if we'll be able to ace the life project and crack the exam, it will be very easy to get like land a job in any finance based company.
One thing is that grades really matter if you're a finance student, and especially like the grades in IIM also are super important, right? Like you can't like slack off. Like other domains are a little more forgiving, but finance is not. So they expect you to do really well. So one advice I'd really give is that focus on actually maximizing your CGPA, right? I know it's very hard and it's a more competitive curve, but as a finance student, like probably if you want to get more opportunities, I think one way is to definitely be somewhere in the top 10, 15% of the batch. Beyond that, everything is a cherry on the cake, right? Like the CFA and the NISM certificates are like ornaments that you put on top of it. But I would say the base that needs to be strong is your grades. And also, in an interview, these are talking points. But at the end of the day, what they're going to really check is your knowledge. So I would say, like, more than focusing on the certificates, try to be part of these case comps, right? Like the finance case comps. I know HSBC has one that keeps coming to the campus. These actually make you go deep into the subject, and they actually give you like a real, like, sort of feeling about how these things are being used in the real life. And you can easily translate that into an interview, and you can talk the interviewer through all of these. So my takeaway is that first keep your grades high, and then probably take up finance case comps and actually try to do well in them, and probably then go for like these certificates, because these certificates are very time consuming, and you can optimize your time better and do well in case comps and actually have more impact on your CV than these certificates.
All right. We'll definitely keep your words into our account. That was very inspiring session, and it was
Yeah, I absolutely love this initiative that you guys are taking up. So it's hope that this gains more traction. And yeah, happy to be here. Thank you.
thank you, Sean. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know your favorite part in the comments. Until then, stay curious, stay bold, and keep pushing your boundaries. Thank you so much.